It was a rainy night when Lucas, Anna, Carlos and Marta met at a local cafe. The mood was tense, not only because of the weather, but because of the conversation that had taken over the table. They talked about the abandoned hospital on the outskirts of town, a place shrouded in mystery and urban legends. The place, known for its dark history, had been a psychiatric hospital that closed its doors after a series of unexplained tragedies. Marta, a history enthusiast, began sharing details about Dr. Helena Vasquez, a respected doctor who had been the head of the hospital. They say she performed experiments on patients, trying to find a cure for mental illnesses, but her tactics were considered cruel and unethical, she said, with a glint of curiosity in her eyes. She disappeared without a trace, and many believe that her soul still haunts the place. Despite their fears, adrenaline began to take over, and the group decided that very night, they would explore the hospital. With flashlights and cameras in hand, they set off on their adventure, unaware that they were about to awaken something that should have remained dormant. When they arrived at the hospital, the scene was desolate. The windows were broken, the walls were covered in mold, and the hallways were a maze of darkness. The tension intensified when they heard the sound of dripping water and the wind whispering through the cracks. Lucas, the most skeptical of the group, tried to remain calm, but Anna, who was more sensitive, felt a strange presence that made her uneasy. As they explored, the group found Dr. Helena's old laboratory. Shelves were filled with broken vials and scattered notes. Marta, fascinated, began to read some of the notes aloud, revealing details of the experiments. She believed she could cure the human mind, but her techniques involved psychological torture, she said, with a tremor in her voice. Suddenly, Carlos started making jokes, trying to ease the tension, but the heavy atmosphere wouldn't dissipate. In one of the rooms, he found an old mirror covered in dust. As he approached, a shadow passed quickly behind him. Carlos's laughter froze in the air, and the group looked at each other, frightened. It was just the wind, he tried to justify, but everyone knew something was wrong. The situation worsened when Anna, more sensitive to that energy, began to have visions. She saw patients who were trapped there, their souls tormented, crying out for help. "We need to get out of here," she begged, but Lucas insisted that they should continue in search of the truth. As they moved forward, the group involuntarily split up. Lucas and Marta went to a different wing, while Anna and Carlos went after a noise that echoed in the hallways. At that moment, Anna had a clear vision of Dr. Helena, who was staring at her with cold eyes and an expression of despair. "You shouldn't be here," she shouted, making the floor shake. Carlos, laughing nervously, tried to make a joke, but Helena's shadow approached and grabbed him, pulling him into the darkness. His scream echoed through the hospital, and Anna, paralyzed by terror, ran to find Lucas and Marta. Reunited, they realized that the only way to escape was to confront Dr. Helena. In the laboratory, they found more notes, revealing that the doctor had become an entity, trapped between the world of the living and the dead, feeding on fear. They realized that in order to defeat her, they needed to confront their own fears. In an abandoned operating room, the group prepared for the final confrontation. Dr. Helena appeared, her form distorted and terrifying. "You can't stop me!" she screamed. But Lucas, with courage, shouted back, "We are not afraid of you!" The battle was intense, with terrifying visions appearing and the hospital shaking around them. Each of the friends had to face their greatest fears and insecurities. Anna, remembering the patients Helena had tortured, cried out, "Yo,